He leads corporate strategy and digital business transformation at HCLTech. Mr. Nishant Sinha.
Frictions, shows everywhere. That is what my learning is. So today, the toughest part is still the same, keeping the clarity alive across the complexity.
And the way you walked us through that turning point gives such a clear picture of leadership in action, and that really felt incredibly real.
What happens if the AI-driven features fail? How does support team will respond to it if they don't understand systems behavior? That question is stay with me.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another high energy episode of FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi. And today, buckle up, because this conversation is going to hit home for anyone who has ever tried to run a program, transform a system, rescue an operation, or simply survive an escalation call at 2 a.m. Our guest today is someone who has quietly built one of the most versatile, resilient, and future focused careers in the transformation space. Over the last 18 years, he has operated across retail, telecom, logistics, healthcare, automotive, CRM, ERP, basically everywhere business meets complexity. He has saved hundreds of hours through automation, slashed incident turnaround time by half, built Gen AI assisted workflows using ServiceNow, Now Assist, LangChain, and Python, and consistently turned at risk accounts into stable SLA driven engines. From British Telecom to FedEx, from TNT Logistics to Maruti Suzuki, from Nordstrom to healthcare analytics, he has seen complexity from every angle. Today, he leads corporate strategy and digital business transformation at HCLTech as an associate general manager at Industry Solutions, working hand in hand with SVP and VP leadership to drive productivity, margin improvement, lean optimization, and agentic AI and Gen AI led in reinvention. And beyond all the awards, certifications, and accomplishments, he brings something rare: a people first mindset and the ability to take something broken and make it breathe again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Mr. Nishant Sinha. Nishant, how are you doing today?
Well, thank you so much, Sunny. I really appreciate that introduction. I am doing well, and honestly, I am grateful to be here. And these conversations are special because they let you pause and reflect on your journey, not just on what you built, but what shaped you behind the scenes. So, yes, really looking forward to this.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Nishant, when we look back at your journey today, it's remarkable. When you look back at your own story, not the titles, not the certifications, where did this journey actually begin for you?
You know, Sunny, when I look back, my journey did not begin with a promotion or a title. It began with a moment when where my world suddenly became bigger than what I thought I was ready for. So I had gone overseas for application transition support, just couple of applications initially, and the transition phase was smooth. And transitions like documentations, KT sessions, steady handover, everything feels controlled. But you know, then something happened that completely changed the story. Based on my experience level, the responsibility shifted. I was assigned as a major incident manager, global service support. That is after before I'm talking about 10 years back story. And honestly, it felt exciting initially, but at the same time, it made me nervous because I did not know the systems deeply yet. And I had entered a completely unfamiliar environment, new stakeholders, new escalations, responsibility came before a conference. Then real tests came. The moment I entered primary support, we had a critical middleware failure, and there was more complex systems like mainframe. There was SAPs. There is infra. Every systems are interconnected as a core ERP, and millions and billions of transactions are flowing through. And I recall it that transactions basically stalled that time in the very first day of primary support. And this wasn't a small. We were talking about, millions of transactions, operations stop, and at first you still think, okay, technical issues, we troubleshoot, we isolate, we recover. But quickly it turned into a business crisis. I started receiving business concerns, war rooms, the heated war rooms, senior management, business directors, leaders joined the bridge. And that was really, uh, overwhelming for me at that time. And suddenly, everyone was looking at me. And I recall it. I remember thinking I may not know every details of systems yet, but I cannot lose control of the room. So instead of panicking, I pretending or I had all answers. I focused on coordination, keeping the teams, support teams, applications, infra, doing the parallel investigations, cleaning and communications, everything we focused to let it happen. Later, we realized the issue wasn't application layers at all. It was with the infrastructure. But for me, that incident became the real beginning because from that day, actually, I started going deep into systems end to end, integration points, multiple modes, and also people, how they behave when pressure enters in the room. So that shift happened right in that first war room. Over to you, Sunny.
Nishant, thank you for the excellent start to this conversation. So, moving forward at HCLTech, you are running programs that touch multiple business units, accounts, and hundreds of engineers. Now, we are conducting value streams analysis, process mining, GenAI feasibility, white space identification, and driving margin improvements, all while staying aligned with SVP and VP level strategic goals. So, when you are in that seat with multiple accounts demanding attention, delivery pressures rising, clients' expectations shifting, and dashboards demanding answers, what is the toughest part of leading such large and complex programs?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sunny. Because the outside, people think that toughest part is the dashboard, the KPIs, the reporting. But the toughest part is something else. It's carrying multiple accounts and priorities in your head while making sure every team still feels stability. Because when you are leading large programs, pressure does not arrive nicely. It arrives in a parallel. So one account has escalations, other account has a margin pressures, release pressures, and your teams are spread across the time zones. So, and this isn't a theoretical for me. I have lived it since early in my career. So at Infosys, along with major incident management, I was responsible for, you know, global access provisioning. I am part of the portfolio. And on paper, it looked fine. Request volumes, SLAs, approvals, but on the ground, it was intense. Because when I say high volume, it is more than 5,000, 6,000 requests per month with the SOX compliance, multiple approvals, audit pressures, fixed bit constants, and a stress team trying to keep pace. So, and here's the thing, dashboards were showing outcomes, but what they weren't showing was exhaustions. So my team morale became fragile at that time, and frequent development releases kept changing the requirements, which mean even when you catch up, the goal was post actually moves again. And there was a phase where nothing moved the way I expected it to. And that was a dip. And that's where I realized something important. Teams don't burn out because work. Actually, you know, they burn out because uncertainty. So instead of pushing harder, I slowed down. I sat with the process end to end, request intake, approval bottlenecks, target dependencies, and what actually happens in real life versus defined SOPs. So once the clarity came, we restructured workflows, introduced automation through RPA, robotic process automation, removed unnecessary frictions, and most importantly, created breathing room. And I have seen that same pattern later in telecom industries and HCL also. Large ecosystems are deeply interdependent, and when I alignments break, frictions shows everywhere. That is what my learning is. So today, the toughest part is still the same, keeping the clarity alive across the complexity. Thank you, Sunny.
Nishant, the way you walked us through that turning point gives such a clear picture of leadership in action, and that really felt incredibly real. Uh, Great. So, moving ahead, the world is buzzing with Gen AI, but you are someone who actually implements it. Now, you have worked hands on with ServiceNow, Now Assist, AI agents, Python, LangChain, LangGraph, and brought Gen AI directly into service delivery, ITSM workflows, KEDB creation, and automation pipelines. Take me back to that moment when you first introduced Gen AI into real operations, into a place where incidents are coming in, teams are stressed, SLAs are being watched closely, and manual efforts is everywhere. What was the very first big Gen AI driven change you pushed for?
That's a great question. Sunny is really buzzing this time. And, you know, I actually like this question because the GenAI story people hear publicly is very clean, like everyone suddenly adopted it overnight. So, but when you put GenAI into real operations, it's not clean, it's messy. SLAs are ticking, incidents keep coming, people are already stretched. For me, GenAI did not enter as a buzzword, so it entered through discipline. I learned early in healthcare analytics. So I was a part of healthcare industry, working with insurance service operations for the client, and we were using AI to capture HCP feedback. HCP basically healthcare practitioners and their respective sentiments. The objective was automation. The objective wasn't the automation; it was insight. What physicians were saying, what was working, what was not working. And that's where I understood explainable AI concept. Because in regulated environments, it's not enough to say AI says so, you need to know why. But the real turning point for me was operational. What happens if the AI driven features fail? How does support team will respond to it if they don't understand systems behavior? That question stayed with me. So when GenAI started becoming mainstream, I did not rush. We did value stream workshops. We identified where GenAI could genuinely help service delivery, summarizations, and assisted resolutions, recommendations, faster knowledge management, and agent assistance. And we were equally clear about the boundaries also because I also published a lot of articles about Gen AI and AI, and we are very much clear about this concept that AI is not going to replace everything. AI is here to assist you on your potential to speed up the productivity. So not everything needs GenAI. Sometimes Python scripts, traditional automation, or RPA is more stable and cheaper. So in my current role, across multiple enterprise accounts, this balance becomes critical. Application management is shifting from SLA delivery to outcome and experience-led decision is making. And when actually agentic AI and GenAI comes into operations, responsibility increases because now you are not just managing the system, you are managing the decisions. So the first big change was not technology, it was mindset, disciplined adoption with humans in the loop. Yeah, so that's what my take on this, Sunny.
Absolutely, Nishant. So tell me, you have handled environments that most leaders would think twice before stepping into. British Telecom's massive application portfolio, TNT Logistics' major incident room, FedEx ECDC platform, Maruti's CRM ecosystem, and healthcare operations where stability was slipping. Now, take us into one of those real turnaround stories. Set the scene for us. What was going wrong? And how did you steady the ship? What did you learn about systems, about people, and about yourself through that process?
Yeah, all right, Sunny. I mean, I believe that in my experience, leadership journey is not never being smooth, but how it looks like. Let me take you into one environment where I genuinely felt the weight of turnaround leadership. Uh, this was a large UK telecom industry. I was responsible for service delivery across multiple field force application portfolios, and the operations was business critical, fast moving, and uncertain, and also under pressure. There was a margin pressure. I remember that, and frequent development releases, change releases, and my 48 to 60 team members, support team members are there on the ground, and they feel very stretched across shifts, weekends, change windows. On paper, things did not look like a disaster. SLAs were being managed, but the truth was visible in the underlying rhythm. I mean, when I get interactive with the teams, and there is some burnout, there is some extra hours, multiple priorities. MTTR was rising, firefighting was normalized, and morale was dropping. When I stepped in, I remember feeling overwhelmed because the challenges weren't technical problems, they were systematic problems. Every new release introduced risk, every escalations added pressures, and there was no space to recover. The turning point came when I realized something uncomfortable. Pushing harder was going to break the team. So, what we have done is we slowed down the operations. We tightened the governance first because once the governance is smooth, then all the priorities are aligned. And the release discipline, priorities, you know, and reducing, we also work towards reducing overlapping deployments that were creating next day instability. Then, I went into the team layer where where actually uh, the team is feeling fatigue. Where are we dependent on one person? Where is repeated work is burning hours? So we introduced cost skilling, backup plannings, and target automation scripting to remove repetitive workload. And yes, so that tooling and automation helped a lot. I work with the stakeholders too, validating the change upfront, setting clear expectations, reducing avoidable escalations. So that actually worked very well, and over time, stability returned. Releases became predictable, incidents reduced, margins recovery is started happening, and confidence of the team is coming back. And when confidence comes back, you can feel the environment breathe again. So that was one of the incidents. Yeah, I can talk about it, Sunny. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mr. Nishant. That really puts you inside the chaos. I can almost hear the alerts that feel the pressure. And the way you describe taking control of that environment gives a clear sense of leadership as a fire.
All right, so moving ahead, Mr. Nishant, it's time for something lighter. Welcome to a rapid fire round. Quick questions, rapid answers, no overthinking, just the first thing that strikes your mind. So, are you ready for it?
Yeah, of course, I will try to do best.
All right, so here I should be with the first question. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
I start the day with gratitude for life and the people around me.
Nice. Your go to comfort food after a long day.
Simple home cooked food, which grounds me actually.
Okay. One activity that instantly relaxes you.
Yeah, in current time, a quiet walk, and yeah, it's clear my head after so many work and the pressures.
Okay. A book that changed your thinking.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book actually I read, written by Dale Carnegie, and it is very good to refer.
That's a must read for all the readers. Okay. So, a leader you admire deeply.
Ratan Tata,
Great. Your favorite movie to rewatch anytime?
Three Idiots. It's
Classic.
very, very educative, very, very, the life changing movie. So everyone must
Yes,
have to watch it.
absolutely. Masterpiece, and that's my favorite too. Okay, moving ahead. One country still on your travel bucket list.
Dubai,
Okay. A superpower you wish you had.
oh my God. All right. So if I had superpower, then I probably go back to my, uh, you know, earlier time, earlier stage when I start my career, and to see, I mean, what passion I carry. So maybe I could be a more judgmental in that time.
All right, nice. Your favorite way to unwind on weekends.
Family time and disconnecting from screens, sometimes travels, long drive,
Nice. One thing you never compromise on at work.
quality.
Absolutely. And
Because
finally, success in one word.
impact,
Impact.
yes.
Wow. That's great. So let me tell you, Mr. Nishant, that was fun, that was quick, and that was warm. And it's always great to know the person behind the professional. Nishant, you have worked in sectors that rely heavily on trust: telecom, logistics, healthcare, IT services. You have handled escalations, SLAs, incident rooms, major outages, operational choke points, and you have also seen what happens when transparency slips or when stakeholders aren't fully aligned. So tell me, in your 18 plus years, has there been an experience or an industry incident, something you saw up close or from a distance that made you pause and rethink how organizations should operate? Something that shaped your beliefs about integrity, transparency, and leadership responsibility?
Yeah, thank you, Sunny. Yes, and I will be honest. This one stayed with me because it's exposed a real ethical tension. I was responsible for managing systems and application access for global users in large logistics organization. And this was a classic IAM environment, a stricter compliance requirement, audit-driven approvals, SLAs, and small team handling very high request volumes, as I mentioned previously. Over time, the pressure built up, and requests from global users started piling up. We had a lot of backlogs which grew, and SLAs were at risk. And at the same time, users and stakeholders were pushing harder for faster access. And that is the time, you know, when governance is questioned. I mean, we had a SOX compliance, we had an approval mechanism, and if we compromise the speed over quality and compliance, and that is a really ethical tension which we create in an environment. So, you know, the easy options was honestly would have been to quietly bypass parts of the process to meet closer numbers. But what would I have compromised? Controls. So I paused. I spent time understanding where approvals were stalling and where risk truly existed, and what team was experiencing daily. We prioritized stricter SLA and risk, and we became transparent with stakeholders about why certain requests simply could not be rushed. And then we invested in automation through RPA, not to bypass control, maintaining the integrity, but to strengthen them, routine validations, and missing information checks, which were automated in a compliant way. The outcome wasn't operational improvement, it was trust. The team felt protected. Auditors, especially SOX, were confident, and stakeholders started respecting the boundaries. So that was the incident which I can recall it. When we have to do some work, deliver something, we have to ensure the integrity and ethics are in place, and quality, of course, so that governance and compliance are intact without harming the policies and controls. Yeah, that's what it is, Sunny.
Nishant, that really highlights the complexity of leadership. It's not just about operations, it's about doing the right thing under pressure, even when nobody's
Correct.
watching.
Correct.
Great. So,
Exactly.
that brings us to the last segment of the podcast. And since you recently joined Directors Institute and you are someone who already brings tremendous experience in delivery management, service management, program turnaround, AI-led transformation, and corporate strategy. So let me ask you, what made you choose this program at this point in your career? And what were you hoping it would add to your leadership journey?
Very good question, Sunny. And I think it is. I feel that I am late to this program. When I look at my journey, there is one pattern. Every phase has been a transformation. So across, telecom to logistics, healthcare, retail, automotive, each transition forced me to adapt, relearn, and see problems from a different lens. And that shaped my execution capability strongly. But at this stage, the questions I deal with are different. It's less about how to deliver and more about why decisions are made, how risk is weighed, how governance shaped outcomes, and how long term value is protected responsibly. And I realized something. Experiences teaches execution, but it does not always give structured board level perspective. And that's what attracted me to the Directors Institute, not as a credential, but as a learning exposure to governance, compliance, ESG, fiduciary responsibility, real boardroom context. What stood out was also credibility, quality of faculty, the scenarios, and the learning with other senior leaders who are themselves evolving. So for me, it's a conscious shift from leading delivery and transformation to contributing where strategy, governance, and accountability intersects. So that's the reason, Sunny. Thanks for asking.
Nishant, that really highlights the thoughtfulness behind your decision. It's inspiring to hear such self-reflection. And the way you connected past experiences to future learning makes your reasoning very relatable. Leaders like Mr. Nishant who choose curiosity over comfort, growth over stagnation, and integrity over shortcuts. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, and
Thank
this
you
has
so
been
much.
FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. Until next episode, stay curious, stay driven, and keep becoming the leader you were meant to be. Thank you so much.